What is going on, boys and ghouls? It is time for another Ghoulfriends podcast. Oh, wrong eye. I have smeared makeup. My apologies. As you guys may know or may not know, I'm Alonna. That's Jamie. Today we are going to be discussing the Netflix original series by Eli Roth, Hemlock Grove. If you have not seen it yet, I recommend you click out because boy, oh boy, it's a lot to take in and there's a fuckload of spoilers.
Oh yeah, as always. Tons of spoilers. Spoilers abound.
So, I think we should start clearly from the beginning with season 1. So, the one thing I want to talk about is how much I can't stand half the cast in season 1.
Me too. Most of them are fucking annoying and stupid, and I feel that way for season 2 as well. That most of them are just fucking stupid and annoying, and they make the dumbest fucking mistakes, dude. Like, there are some parts of this show that I really like because you see them going in a direction where many shows have gone before. And you're like, oh, the characters are going to react this way like they always do in shows. And then they don't. And it's like, oh, cool. Okay, great. So, it's different. It's,
Right.
It's not cookie cutter. But then they'll turn around and do something even more stupid. Or they'll turn around and do something that is so obviously predictable, So it's a show that is very hit or miss.
Yeah.
Or it's hit and miss, because there are parts that are great and other parts that are just like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Yep. And the problem with me, when I started it, I couldn't stop. Like, you realize it's ridiculous, but you also can't look away because you kind of want to know what's happening next.
Right. Yeah. And even though you can't stand most of the characters,
yeah,
you still want to know what happens, and you kind of want them to die.
Yeah. And I think it's because so much happens in an episode, you're like, damn, what the fuck?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So my first complaint is, oh my god, I don't even remember that girl's name. Christina. I can't stand her.
I mean, she's okay. I don't like that all of a sudden she's the Vargulf, and I don't know, it just doesn't totally make sense.
Not only that,
explain it, but it's just, it doesn't.
It's kind of creepy how she became the Vargulf. Like, if she wanted Peter to like her, all she had to do was just, like, talk to him. Because clearly he fell in love with Letha in, like, 35 seconds. Like,
Who's a fucking moron, and she's so annoying. I hate Letha.
Oh, my God.
I was waiting the whole season. I was like, die. And when she finally did, I was like, yeah!
Yes, as terrible as that is, I was like, thank you, Jesus.
Yes.
And I don't know, she was just whiny. Like, she was just so fucking whiny.
A lot of the women in that show are whiny. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Miranda too, and Annie. And oh my God, can we just talk about? Well, no, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I want to go season by season.
Yeah.
Oh my God, season 3. Oh my God, what a hot mess. But
so fucking weird.
But again, you can't look away, and that's the problem. And now I've corrupted you because I figured I wasn't exposed to this. Now somebody else has got to be, and you were the only one who took the bait. Nobody else watched it. Well, Jordan watched like 2 episodes at my house, and she said that like she'll finish it the next time she comes over. But I really feel like she's not done it.
Yeah. So like, it's not a bad show. I would recommend it if you're into vampires and werewolves that kind of go off of like, it's not super traditional in the way that it does it. It's a little different, which I like.
Yeah.
But I will say some of the characters, and it's not the actors or the actresses, because they all do a great job. It's just the characters. Because,
What I found the most interesting, speaking of the actors, is Bill Skarsgård, aka Roman. That was actually his first ever American role. He is Swedish. Every other role before that was in Sweden. That was his first ever American role, and you can't even tell.
No, you can't. He did great. And just his range, because the 3 things I've seen him in are obviously the new It, and then Hemlock Grove, and he also has a minor role in Atomic Blonde.
Yep.
But all of those characters are very different, and he plays them beautifully. He's an excellent actor. I love him.
Oh my God, he is.
The character of Roman, not so much.
No.
But Skarsgård, as an actor, love him.
And he's a dreamboat too. Oh
yes, he's nice to look at.
Oh my god! But you know what? He plays a good Roman because he kind of is naturally creepy. Like even when you see him, I saw him in Deadpool 2. He's in Castle Rock, and as you said, Hemlock Grove and It and Atomic Blonde. But he's just naturally creepy.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd say he's naturally creepy. I don't know. I mean, maybe some people find it creepy. I feel like he's more of the stand by and observe type of person, which can come off as creepy because it's like, what are you looking at? Why are you watching people? But I mean, that's me. I am a silent observer, so I get that.
Yeah. So I want to talk about how in season 1, the first time we see Roman, he's banging some hooker that he just met at a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And then, for me, I feel like the evolution of him throughout the whole series was like, you love him, then you hate him, then you hate him, then you love him, and then you hate him, and then you're like, good for Peter in the very last episode.
Yes, I totally agree. His Roman's character arc is very interesting because it's like he starts off as like a sheltered rich boy.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not too sheltered. Like he's doing drugs and shit, and he's getting tons of pussy. But he's not your typical rich boy where he's like flaunting it. And he's super popular because of it. It's just like, oh yeah, there's the rich kid.
Yeah,
he's not the center of attention in public, which is a nice deviation from what you see in a lot of shows and movies and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, there's this roller coaster of I love him, I hate him, I love him, I hate him. And I will say, the moment Letha came out to her mother and said, I'm pregnant, I knew it was Roman. Even when he was like, oh, who is it? Oh, it's an angel? Okay, I knew. I was like, because first episode, you see his weird, like,
shadow
obsession with her.
Yeah. Not only
like a sexual tension, and it's just creepy.
Right. Not only that, when they're in the car, he gets so mad at her. Like when he's like, "Who is it? Like who is it?" Like,
right. So
clearly, it isn't fucking Peter because she didn't even start seeing Peter yet. So
right, and so even though it's obvious that Roman doesn't know that he is the father and that he raped her,
trigger warning, by the way.
Yeah. It's still obvious that it's him. And it's not until someone says something about, like, take a good look in the Coke mirror, I realized, oh, he somehow did, like, the mind trick on himself.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't need the awful rape scene of that other girl for it to confirm it in my mind. I did not need that. I figured it out, like, episode 2.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's painfully obvious, but when he really shines with that mind thing is when they're in the house and those guys are like about to kill Peter and Letha, and he's like, you put the gun in your mouth, and he just stares at the guy while the guy's putting the gun in his mouth, and I was watching like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Also, can we talk about, like, what happened to those powers?
Yeah. But here, well...
Because they're gone after he fully becomes Upir.
Right. Well, here's the thing, and he's having a hard time coming to terms with the fact that he's new here. He despises his mother. He does not want to be like his mother at all, and you kind of see that. And I think in a way, he blames his mother for his father's suicide, which it was kind of her fault because we find out she's an evil witch. Anyway, so explains why he's so fucked up. Anyway, but and then at the end. That's really solidified. And I think that that's where you feel bad for him the most. Because when he's in Peter's trailer, after Peter, lost his mind and shaved his head and looked like a thumb.
God, that was the worst.
He did. He looked like such a thumb. I am so sorry.
Did. You said that and it hadn't happened yet. I was like, he's handsome, though. He's not going to look that bad. And then it happened. I was like, oh, yeah, he's a thumb.
Oh, yeah. And he just like... I think that that's where the roller coaster kind of begins, because throughout all of season 1, you kind of hate Roman's guts. Like, you want him to die.
Right.
Like, but then at the end, you see him, and the moment where it gets me is when his mother's telling a story about the gypsy, and she's like, I fucking told you so, and all this other shit. And when she's saying how the Romanchits are descended from her because she gave her baby up to a gypsy. And then when he's sitting in that pool, first of all, the first time I saw that scene, I was like, why the hell is he in an empty pool? Just a random chair and a radio next to him. He's just like chain smoking. But I think the saddest part is when he finally comes to terms with how later named Nadia came to be, and when he finally realizes that it was Olivia's doing, and he tries to kill himself. And I think that right there is the proof that he doesn't want to be the person he is.
Right, yeah.
But he can't stop it. He can't control it.
Right. But go ahead.
And I think that some of those experiments that Price was doing on him when he didn't want to be an Oupir anymore, I think that that's how he lost those mind control powers. Because you don't see him do that throughout the rest of the series. The only other person who can do that is Nadia.
Right, yeah. But she does it in a different way.
Right.
Like, she just makes people's heads explode, basically.
Oh my god, I have to tell you, that part with the two old butlers when they're just like having sex and then the guy dies and she's like, he was a good man. I have to tell you, I'm so sorry. I laughed hysterically.
Oh, yeah.
Because he just screamed at her. He's like, shut the fuck up. And I was
like,
yeah, he just screams at her. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Things that I feel like they just left to the wind, you know, the loose ends is, how did Olivia make Roman rape his cousin / half-sister, Letha?
Right.
And then there was something else that just, it didn't add up. Oh, so we get the flashback of Olivia when she was a child, and she was running away with the gypsy boy.
Right.
And we're shown that he left her, and then she killed herself by cutting off that weird tail thing she had, which I'm thinking is an allusion to her relation to Spivak, or his species at least. Right. Anyway, but then in season 3, Annie is like
her daughter,
right? And she gave up her daughter. She said, "Give her to the slaves because she is a slave." And but then Annie comes back and says, you know, like, he never actually left. They found his body like dismembered in the town square and stuff. So it's like, what was the truth? Like, did he leave her, or did he leave her and then she killed him? Or
to
like,
me,
what the hell happened? It was so unclear.
To me, just watching Olivia and watching the way she brutally murders Norman. Not saying Norman didn't deserve it. Norman's a fucking asshole.
And he's stupid. Okay,
he
go ahead.
He is, but not saying he didn't deserve it. But anyway, just based on the way she kills him, I would imagine, and the way I took it when I first saw it was, I think Annie was saying how he never left her. She killed him because she also, in a way, she also killed Roman's father, JR. So, well, no, technically Norman's his father, but you know, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. But and I think what she does, and she mentions it, is, you know, Annie mentions it, she lets the men get so close, and then she's like a man-eater. Like, she'll just kill them before they can get too close to her.
Right. Which is fine, but then why were we shown the past and that Olivia was left all alone? And he just up and left? Because to me, that's two conflicting stories.
I think that's her trying to reiterate the fact that she hates gypsies, because we only see that really at the end of season 1 when Roman's in the trailer and she's saying a gypsy is a gypsy is a gypsy, meaning how they will all leave you. That's the way I took it. But another thing I want to talk about is poor Peter, okay? But he is a fucking idiot in season 3.
Yes. Like, why would you not just tell Destiny? She's a big fucking girl, okay? Like, and that's one of the things where it's like they always do this in TV shows. And if you've ever watched Supernatural, you guys know that they do this a million fucking times where they do something that they think is irredeemable, and I'm going to protect my loved ones by not saying anything and lying about it because they would hurt more if they knew the truth. It's like, yeah, or they could, be alive.
Yeah.
Because you gave them a heads up and now they know the truth.
Right. Because, okay. Let me go back. Let's move on to season 2. Let's move on to season 2. Okay. So season 2 opens up. Peter, he's living his best life with Linda, his mother. But Linda gets arrested because, life of a gypsy, her activities finally catch up to her. So he has to go back to town and try and get money off of Roman to bail her out of prison. Well, by this point, Roman is now the head of the Godfrey Industries because at the end of season 1, not only does he slit his own wrist, he also murders Olivia. But Dr. Price brings Olivia back to life, as he did with Shelley, which Shelley, I think, is an homage to Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein, because she kind of is.
I thought so too. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, I love her evolution too. Like, she is awesome.
Oh, I just love her as a character. The entire time I'm like, if Shelley dies, I'm not watching any more of this. I'm done if Shelley dies. This is not happening.
You mean dies again, right?
Right, yeah. But the moment I texted you about that, like, if Shelley dies, I'm not watching this anymore. You said, no, Shelley must be protected at all costs. I was like, yes.
Yep. And then, we talk about, when Peter mentions to Roman, to kill a gypsy, you have to cut off their head. This is important later. We will get into that. But, season 2, and for me, I think season 2 kind of started off a little bit bland. I mean, it's just Destiny up to her, scams to make money, which, hey, I mean, she has some insight, but I love that part when it's just like the three of them, like Roman, Miranda, and Peter, and Destiny goes, okay, you have to drown me this time. And she just says it so nonchalant. and Peter's like, yeah, no problem. Miranda's fucking over here freaking out. She's like, I'm not going to drown her.
I love Destiny. I think she's a great character. I love her attitude and that she's level-headed. And Linda, too. Those two and Shelley are, I think, really the only female characters in that show that I like. Yes. The rest are fucking stupid and funny.
Oh yeah. And, it's like I said, I love Peter, and the actor isn't bad to look at either. I think his name's Landon Librian. He was in Truth or Dare too.
Get out of here! Out! Hold on, I gotta yell at a cat.
No problem. I'll keep talking. But what's interesting about him is
go be fat somewhere else.
Go be fat somewhere else. What I think is interesting most about him is that as a character,
and people say I would make a great mother.
Go be fat somewhere else. But in season 1, Peter kind of starts off as public enemy number 1 because clearly we find out he really is a werewolf, and he's a gypsy, right. So he's like the most hated man in all of Hemlock Grove. But then season 2, my favorite line is, first of all, when he gets the job, and then second of all, when him and Roman, I forget what they're doing, and Roman says to him, make sure you show up late for work so your boss doesn't suspect anything. I was like, that is so Peter.
Yeah.
Like, that is so Peter. And I have to talk about Miranda when she's like, oh my God, freak lactation. Oh my God. Like, bro.
I know.
Bro.
Like, check your birth control. Because your birth control can do that. I was on the depot shot for, oh my God, years and years, and I never had a problem with it. And then when I was in college, all of a sudden, random lactation. Like, not to that amount, but, right. Like, it happens.
Right. And
she's acting like she's going to die.
But she wasn't freaking out too much when, she was banging the 3 of them. Or the 2 of them. Yeah, the 3 of them. Yeah, when she was banging the 2 of them, I mean, come on.
Right. But then also, like, okay.
Let's say that I blame her, because the 2 of them, yum.
So, if I'm staying at someone's house, and I find out they have a secret baby locked away in a soundproof room, and I'm randomly lactating, my first thought is not, here, kid, latch on, let's have a little snack here, this is normal, and let's stay here. Like, no, I'd be taking that baby and going to the fucking cops and being like, hey, this kid was locked up in a room and I'm not kidnapping them, I'm bringing them to you because they're obviously in danger.
Yeah, this kid's locked up in a room. Some random guy keeps coming to the house, and the guy I'm staying with keeps throwing him out of the house. So I'm very concerned for his child's well-being. But no, she doesn't see anything wrong with that. And, you know, can we talk about why the fuck is Spivak a pterodactyl? Literally, why is he a pterodactyl?
Not even. It's more like a fucking stingray.
Like, why?
And that's another thing at the end. At the very end of the show, the entire show, the end of season 3, they show one of the little baby ones coming up out of the water. So did they think they were going to have another season? Or what?
No, they knew season 3 was the end. They knew that. But I think it was kind of just setting the tone for if they maybe wanted to do a spinoff, which I kind of wish they would. I kind of wanted to see what happened with Peter since he turned on the wrong moon.
Did he, though? Because I thought it was so close to full moon.
No, because remember Destiny was saying to him if he did it one more time, he was going to be stuck like that.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, well, again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So anyway, but, you know, and I hate how, you know, when fucking the end of season, or yeah, no, I think it's the end of season 2, isn't it? When, or no, it's season 1 when Spivak just swoops down and takes the baby, and they just stand there and stare at him. They're like, "How's the weather up there?" Like, what? Like, bro,
I think they're all in shock.
Vampire and a gypsy werewolf, and you're just gonna stand there. Oh, how's the weather up there, Dr. Spivak? Like, come on.
I mean, what else are they gonna do?
Except
stare in shock.
I mean, yeah, but. Another character evolution I love is Dr. Price. I hated him at first.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of him at first, and then I came to love him.
Yeah.
And even though he is a terrible human being because he's like, oh, we need a body, a host, like, let's just get a homeless person or an undocumented worker. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know, but then at the same time...
let me just put my brain inside of theirs and nothing's going to go wrong. Well, how'd that work?
Right, yeah. But at the same time... he tracked down that Nazi scientist who was experimenting and killing children,
right?
And was so disgusted with him that he made him die in like excruciating pain, which was beautiful. Right. And just the love that he has for Shelley. At first, I was like, "Is this genuine? I don't know about that." But when he's willing to throw everything away for her at near the end of season 3, he's like, "Olivia, do what you will. I'm not doing this shit." You know, I was just like, oh.
And Shelley's the only one he does that for because he could have brought back Letha. He chose not to. He could have. Mm-hmm. And you know he could have because he brought back Shelley. So
thank you, Dr. Price, for not bringing back Letha.
Oh, God. Yo, and I hate when Peter goes on that whole speech. He was like, I was ready to get a job. I was ready to get married. I was ready to raise a kid with her. Bro, you knew her, what, all of 3 fucking months?
Right.
Come on, Peter. Come on. You know better than that. But you know, season 2 I feel is relatively uneventful except for that battle at the end between Spivak, Peter, and Roman, and I feel like that's where you really see the kind of bond that, you know, I got you, you got me, but then that's broken by the end of season 3, which we're about to get into. But it proves that they, you know, that bond was broken at the end of season 1 and then slowly replaced for season 2. And then season 3, Roman had to go and fuck it all up. Can we talk about that blood bank orgy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, it wasn't an orgy, but yeah. The gross blood bank sex scene.
Yeah.
And also, and you know this guy's your half-brother. Why are you banging him?
She knew it. And in Roman's defense, he didn't know it. So in his defense, you know, he kind of gets a pass on that one because he didn't know until she told him. But then he fucked her again anyway, so.
Right.
Yeah.
I did not mind as much as the other leading ladies, but when she died, I wasn't like, oh no. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she had her moments, but let's talk about Andreas, because I fucking hate that guy too.
I loved him at first.
Well, yeah.
At first he was great. Yeah, but then you find out what he's doing and like how he's just a different person sometimes. Like, it's just a flip of the switch.
Yeah.
So that's shitty.
Yeah, and I think, this is where Peter's stupidity comes in, because at any minute, Peter could have not only saved Andreas's life, but Destiny's, and he could have said, hey, here's what Andreas is doing, just so you know.
Right. Like, way in the beginning, it could be like, hey, Andreas wants to steal drugs and sling heroin, like...
But no, Peter got involved because it was like, what was it, 1.2 million or something, that he didn't even use anyway. He gave to Annie and Nadia, which I applaud him for, but still, but, that could have been avoided. And then when he lies to Destiny, and here is Roman's downfall, if there is one, because, the cocaine-addicted, womanizing, rapist vampire isn't enough. I feel like his downfall is he's trying to help Peter. He doesn't want Peter to go down for what happened to Andreas, even though, theoretically speaking, it wasn't technically Peter's fault what happened to him.
Right.
But Roman's downfall is when he makes that phone call and tries to sound like it's not him. Bro, are you stupid? He's like, yeah, there's a man. Like, bro, do you really think nobody's going to figure that out?
Right.
Like,
and also really, someone will find him.
Yeah.
Or dial 911 and leave the phone off the hook. Yeah. They'll send a cop out there.
Yeah. Like, all you have to do is dial, wait like 10 seconds, and then hang up.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, do not do that. We don't advocate for that. But anyway.
Unless you are in an emergency situation.
Right. Correct. Yeah. But we don't do that for fun. Anyway.
No.
But, and that's really his downfall, and I feel like this is where, especially when he goes into church and he's trying to better himself, and he's saying to the priest, I'm about to do things I don't want to do. And the priest is just like, nope, can't help you, and slams the door right on him.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I mean, so in some ways you can't be mad at him because he tried and everybody else was like, no, fuck you. You're on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
that's how I even felt bad for him in season 1, because it's like he wanted to help. He wanted to do the right thing constantly, and everyone was like, oh no, just stay out of it. Oh no, there's nothing you can do. And they just kept pushing him off to the side. And it's like, he's trying to do the right thing. Like, can we encourage that?
Right. And then when Price puts him into that coma, and then like when he finally comes out of the coma and Olivia's just like, oh yeah, whatever. Like, bro, come on. Like, he can't even have his mother supporting him. And that bullshit story that he overdosed. No, he knew exactly what happened, and he did. Yeah. He knew that he got drunk and fucking stormed the Godfrey Tower. Although I do have to tell you, it's kind of funny when he's sitting in that bar and he just goes to that guy. He's just like, tell your brother he can have one of my houses. And
God.
Yeah. He's like, tell him he can have one of mine. And I'm like, bro, such a rich boy thing to say.
Yeah.
But no, season 3, and Peter's really struggling with himself because he keeps turning on the wrong moon in season 3. He did it a couple times in season 2, but in season 3, he's really struggling with that. And you see Peter actually start to get more and more violent as the season progresses, even before what happens to Destiny. Like, he's starting to like lose it a little bit. Like, and you could see that because like the way that he goes after Milan, and then I have to tell you though, when him and Roman tag team Milan, I loved that because Milan was a piece of shit anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he found out that that girl was fucking Andreas and he beat the shit out of her.
Right.
Like, that happened, and it's like, how about instead of just leaving, you offer that family, like, hey, if you need to stay, my people will protect you because that guy's a fucking prick.
Right.
But no, fuck them, I guess.
Yeah, fuck them. I mean, and that's the point where you don't feel bad for Andreas anymore when they take him and they shoot him. You don't feel bad for him.
Not at all.
You're like, good, fuck you. But,
the fact that he knew why they were coming after his people because he fucked this chick.
Yeah.
And he was ready to kill innocent people.
over that. Yeah.
In revenge. Like, just admit that you're a piece of shit.
But exactly. Whatever. And if he thought Destiny wasn't going to find out, the bitch is a fucking psychic anyway. She was going to find out eventually.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. You know, I mean, she was going to find out anyway. And, you know, my thing is, like I said, when they tag team Milan, but I do have to tell you, I think that was a good idea when, you know, Roman tries to pin the whole thing that happened to Destiny on Milan by taking the ring and putting it on his dresser. Like, but my thing is, how did Peter not see him fucking doing that?
Right.
Like,
I guess he was just busy torturing Milan.
And the balls of Destiny driving all the way Pottstown for that.
Yeah, no kidding.
And that should have been the moment where Peter told her, he's like, look, you know, here's what happened with Andreas. Right. He wasn't a good guy. Here's what happened. I'm sorry, but that's the way it went.
Yep.
Because, you know, and again, it could have been avoided had he have just said something. And then, you know, for him to be mad at Roman, I know Roman is the one who killed her, but Peter got Roman involved in the first place.
Yeah.
He did. I mean, because he called him to help him dispose of Andreas' body. I mean...
Right.
And then he could have just said something to Destiny. I felt bad for her, though, when she's trying on the wedding dress and it starts, like, bleeding everywhere. I was like, oh, my God, that's terrible. Yeah. That's so terrible.
I felt so fucking bad for her.
Yeah.
Because she was one of the strongest female leads, you know?
Yeah. And then you see her totally break like that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, my God. And then... Can we talk about Aitor, please? Like, Aitor Quantic. What kind of name is that, first of all? Second of all, he's a creep. I'm sorry. He's a creep. Because Shelley's like, what, 16, 17?
18, yeah.
Yeah, I am so glad for her that she gets away from Olivia's chokehold and goes out on her own. And she starts speaking, too. That is so awesome.
Yes.
That is so awesome. But I think, in a way, Aitor kind of takes advantage of her.
I don't know, because I feel like he helps her in a lot of ways.
He does. But then, you know, his motives are kind of up for debate. Is he really trying to redeem himself after what happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for as much as he did for the homeless community, I would say he was genuine.
Yeah. But, you know, it doesn't take away the fact that he's like 40 and she's like 17 or 18.
Yeah. That part
that's a little weird.
But I mean, this is the same show that's like, hey, you were mind fucked and made to rape your half sister, and now you're having sex with your other half sister, and also you kind of made out with your mom, you know.
And also you have a demon baby, and some pterodactyl looking thing is gonna try and kidnap her and kill her.
Right. So you know, a relationship with 20 years between them is not the weirdest thing in the show.
No, in all honesty, it's not. So what do you think of the series finale? And it's really the last 3 episodes when Roman kills Destiny because so Destiny goes over there and she's freaking out because she figured out that Roman's the one who made the phone call. Roman loses his mind, throws her through a table. And Annie's trying to get him to take her to the hospital. And he's like, no, I'm just going to put her out of her misery. And he goes, and he snaps her neck.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's because of the blood that he can't control himself. I think
it's just because he's gone.
Yeah,
like,
or if it's like
goodness in him is gone.
Yeah, like, because you see him slowly start to lose that, but by the end of season 3, it's just gone. Like, he is for himself and nobody else, because he really doesn't even care about Shelley. He doesn't even know where Shelley is anymore.
Well, he does he knows where she is because he sends her
the food truck. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and all the supplies. Yeah. So you know,
but that's the last she hears from him.
Yeah, and it's like at the court hearing, he was like, "I'm only a phone call away. I'm right here."
Right.
But then he doesn't even know that she goes missing. You know, that she ran away. He has no idea until she comes to his house.
Right, because like I said, I think he's slowly slipping further and further into insanity. And I think what he was trying to do was he was trying so hard not to be what he turned out to be that he ended up getting lost in it anyway. Because of his hatred for Olivia and his hatred for what he was realizing he was starting to become.
Right, and all the lies that he was raised with.
Yeah, and everything else. And, you know, I have to tell you, when he shot Peter, I was like, oh, God, there goes Peter. But I also knew he was kind of going to come back because of the fact that he mentions to kill a gypsy, you have to cut off their head.
Well, it's not a gypsy. It's a werewolf.
Yeah, a werewolf. I'm sorry. Yeah. To kill a werewolf, you have to cut off their head. So, there's that. But, you know, this is where you see Peter kind of start to slip too, because he's like kind of having this dream / hallucination of Destiny telling him, you know, you were an idiot and this was your fault that all this just happened. Because, again, it was Peter's fault. Absolutely. 100%. All he had to do was say, look, Destiny, this is what happened with Andreas. This is what he was doing. This is what happened. Now these guys are after him. Case closed.
Right. And I love that in that sequence of him seeing her in this weird in-between afterlife thing, it's not like, Peter, I forgive you. It's like, no, you're an asshole. This was your fucking fault.
Yeah. Yeah. You know? And that's how she is as a character. She's like, this is your fault. She's like, but guess what? You know, you're as good as dead. So, and she's like, so you better start digging. Yeah. And I'm just like, you know what? You go, Destiny. You go.
And I'm so glad that at the end, Dr. Price, he showed Shelley who her mother really was.
Yeah.
By showing the security footage of Olivia killing Norman.
Yep.
Which, can we just talk about Norman for a second? Okay, one, Norman and Roman, like, you didn't really make it that mysterious as to who his father was. You just switched 2 letters.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and also, like, I don't understand why Shelley loved Norman so much. Because, especially after she found out about the affair, because it's like, all right, so you are so close to my mother that you're fucking her and you are in love with her, but you know, even though you know how she treats me like shit.
Right.
Why would you be so close to someone who allows someone else to treat you like shit?
Right. Exactly. And then
Roman sticks up for Shelley way more than Norman ever does.
Oh, yeah. Because Roman's not afraid of Olivia. I think in some way, Norman was afraid of her because she killed JR.
Well, he doesn't know.
Right. But I think in some way, he was afraid of her, but he was also in love with her. And I think that that's kind of his problem. But that doesn't excuse the fact that, you know, like I said, I didn't understand why Shelley still loved him dearly, too. And I don't know if it's because maybe she knew he was Roman's father. But when you have that flashback of her being, you know, reincarnated, you know, it's Norman and JR that take her to Dr. Price. So I don't know if maybe, you know, he was the first person she saw. Who knows? Right. You know, they don't necessarily clarify that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that ending but I don't know how Annie thought that she was actually talking to Peter until she showed up at the train tracks and she saw Roman's car. Like, how did she think that was Peter? If she didn't hear from him all night, right? Mm-hmm. He's buried in a shallow grave in the woods that the wolves just dug him out of. And how does she think that that's him?
Right. Why would he not contact her right afterwards?
Right. Like, if Roman was dead and Peter killed him, why would he wait until the next morning and be like, okay, it's done? Like, what?
Right.
Like, how did she not figure that out? Like, seriously. I don't know. But what I do have to say is I was very stunned. I wasn't stunned that Peter came back. Because I knew that. Because they set that up in season 1. They set that up when he makes that comment, you have to cut off his head to kill him. Plus, that man has been, shot and stabbed and bit more times than, probably anybody in the horror franchise. So good for
Right.
Peter. Yo, I fucking love when he's just chilling on that random person's couch and Annie's like begging him to go to the hospital. He's just like, no, too many people asking too many questions. And he just gets up and walks right fire.
Yeah.
He's just like, nope, too many people asking too many questions. I'm just like, damn, what the fuck?
I decided I don't need to go to the hospital. I'm fine.
Yeah, he's just like, nope,
that's
too many
how
people
life
too many
works.
questions. Yep. And then he just drops the 1.2 million. He's just like, here you go. And then she's like, what's this? He's just like, some money I came into. I don't need it. And he just keeps walking right out the fucking door. Like nothing happened. I mean, but, strength. Strength is something that man has. Oh, my God. But, when he calls Roman, and Roman... Now, let me ask you, do you think Roman was sincere in saying that it didn't have to end that way, or do you think that was just his way of tricking Peter so he could finally finish him off? Like, when Peter calls him and they're in the woods in the very last episode, and then, Roman says, Peter, it doesn't have to be this way.
I think he's just trying to get out of it at that point.
Really?
Honestly. Yeah.
So you think he's like done with just everything and everyone, and he's just like, I've, fuck this. Like,
yeah, I think at that point he just fell too far. Like if that conversation had taken place in season 1, or even like the middle of season 2, I would have believed it. I would say that was genuine, but he just fell so fucking far that, like, he just wanted his kid back, and I think when it's your child's life in jeopardy, you'll say anything.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, he knew Peter wasn't going to hurt her, but did he really? Because, I mean, look, he just murdered his cousin, so. Well, not Peter.
Right.
Roman.
Right.
Roman just murdered Peter's cousin, so, I mean.
Right. So maybe in jeopardy is not the right words, but, like, he is in danger of never seeing his child again.
Right. Which ends up happening anyway. The showdown at the Godfrey Manor, and he's just nonchalantly standing there looking at a picture, and it's almost like, to me, I feel like in a way I think he knew Peter was gonna show up.
Yeah.
And Peter shows up with the gun, and then he just fucking yeets that shit into next Tuesday, and he changes right there. He just changes right into a wolf. But what I think is amazing is how really Roman didn't really fight back.
Like a little bit, but it was more like
pushing him away. Yeah. Like he didn't really fight back, and I think that was kind of seeing the old Roman, so to speak, dying off, because he didn't fight back, I think, because he knew that he was fucked. He knew.
Right.
He knew that there was no way out of what was going on. And when he falls out the window, okay, I did not expect that at all.
No, that was a surprise. That I was like, oh shit, his spine is broken.
Yeah, I expected him to kill Peter because he comes close. He comes close when Peter's in wolf form. But when he's like laying there and he's like, and I have to be honest, I still kind of felt bad for him at the end because he's like crying and he's like, just do it. Like, just do it. Just fucking do it. Put me out of my misery. And
I think that wasn't wholly because he was paralyzed. Right. I think a lot of it was just because he had, Shelley threw it right in his face, like, you've become our mother.
Right.
That he just...
And that was finally his realization. Yeah, that was finally his realization, and he just finally gave up. I think that even if he wasn't paralyzed, I think that even in that moment he would have said, just do it. Like, just do it already. Because I think that he wanted to die, but he figured, let somebody else do it, because he couldn't even succeed at doing that the first time. And like I said, for me, that was sad, because he's like, just do it. And then he looks at Peter, he just goes, look at you, you're going to live out the rest of your days as an animal. And I was just like, I really don't think Peter fucking cares if he's going to be a wolf for the rest of his life. I really don't think he cares.
No, probably not. He lost everything.
He did. And, Linda's like, in some other country.
Yeah, she's in like fucking Romania.
Yeah, living her best life. Didn't even know the events of the rest of season 2 and 3 happened probably. Yeah. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that got me was not only that, because Peter tears out Roman's heart, and that's the end of Roman, which is sad because Bill is so nice to look at. Anyway, but I don't know if you notice, and if you have to pay close attention to see it, when Aitor and Shelley are driving out of town, you see Peter in wolf form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Shelley sees him for a split second.
Yeah, as if he's kind of like watching over Shelley.
Yeah, but also that's another thing, that in season 1, Peter got really close to Shelley. They were friends.
Yeah.
And they never saw each other ever again.
Yeah.
They never had another interaction after season 1.
But I'm kind of wondering if it was because she had Nadia, because Annie left Nadia with Shelley.
Right.
So I'm kind of wondering if that's why he was kind of like watching over Shelley. And clearly he is living out the rest of his days as a wolf, which, again, I really don't think he cares anyway, because that man was through more than, he should have been in his life. So I didn't really think he cared. But, I always thought that was really interesting, where you just kind of see him for a split second, and Shelley notices, and Shelley knows that that's him.
Mm-hmm.
Because she looks at him and she kind of smiles, and she's like, oh, okay.
Right.
And, can we talk about Annie for a moment, when she just locks herself in that thing? I can't remember the other doctor's name. I loved him. I can't remember his name.
He had such a good heart.
He did.
And he really wanted to help Price, even though Price was an asshole.
Yeah, Price treated him like garbage. I can't think of that guy's name now. Oh, my God.
I think it started with a B. I don't remember. I just watched it today and I don't remember. But
yeah, I don't remember. I know it's something with a B, Doctor something. But oh my God, that poor guy. And he was literally in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yes.
He really was. Because, Annie just blew herself and Olivia sky high. He's going with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my God.
They did such a good job, though, with, the gross, creepy horror factor of Olivia getting to that state where she was eating herself alive.
Yeah, and they talk about those vampires in season 2, and I can't help but wonder, the vampire that attacks Roman in his house, is that Olivia?
No. That was because when Destiny came to do the her psychic shit, that's when she was like, no, it was here, but it went to the mortuary.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and then that's when that stuff with him and Annie happens.
Yeah.
But I like when Olivia breaks into his house and she thinks that he's not there, and he just shines the lightness in her face, and she's just, hi, Mom.
Yep.
Yeah, he just puts it right in her face, just like, hi, Mom.
Oh my God, that's another thing. Annie is so fucking stupid. So she goes into Olivia's house after she gets all those messages from her. So Olivia leaves all these voicemails on her phone, being like, hey, I was hoping you could come by. And it progressively gets more crazy, oh, hey, just checking to see if you got my message. Are you going to come by? And then the third one's like, are you coming by? And it's don't come by. Don't.
Mind you, the reason being is because Olivia wants her body so that Olivia can continue her reign of terror.
Right, but even without knowing that, it's if someone left me those kinds of messages, I'd be like, nope, block. And, but then she gets there, and it's the middle of the day, and Olivia is in a pitch black apartment with sunglasses on.
And she's hallucinating that guy.
Things.
She's hallucinating.
Right, but it's you fought these things. You and Roman were the ones who figured out that they're sensitive to light, but you're not putting this shit together. Come on.
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
You're gonna be that dumb. Well, then I guess you are where you are now.
I have to tell you though, I did like Chondo. He was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Just Olivia's hallucination of him. He was hilarious.
He reminded me, because his outfits kept changing and he was really goofy, reminded me so much of Larry from Don't Look Under the Bed.
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
Yes.
big time.
Yeah, like, I love when he's just like, oh, hell no. Like, I was like, oh my God, I love Chondo. Like, my top 3 is probably Peter, Roman, and then Chondo, because he was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, he like brought that like horror comedy aspect into it, because for the most part, it's a really heavy horror. Like, it's, like I said, it is a lot to take in, and you're just like, I don't really want to see this, but I can't look away.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But, again, the end of season 3, I was like, you know what? Good for Peter. Good for Peter. Because, he kind of caught Roman by surprise when he pushed him right through the window. Because he just jumped right on him.
And I mean, I feel like everyone in the end, karma got, they got what was coming to him, basically. Like, Peter is alive, but he's forever a wolf because his stupid fucking actions got Destiny killed. Mm-hmm. And then Roman, for all the evil that he did. Olivia, I feel like she got it the worst. I mean, to die eating yourself alive is, I think that's worse than being eaten alive by a bear. And then Price, he's stabbed multiple times, even though he's like turning over a new leaf and he's accepting himself and, trying to live a better life, and he's done so much for Shelley. Like, he still has so much he has to atone for. It's just everyone. And then, I mean, even Annie, like, you fucked your brother. You knew he was your brother, and you didn't tell him, and you fucked him. Like,
right. And then after you told him, you fucked him again. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And like I said, that is the one relationship I will give Roman a pass, because at first he didn't know.
Yeah, I give him a pass like for the first half.
Yeah. Yeah, like just the first half of season 3, he gets a pass. Then once you get past like episode 5, you're just like, nope, fuck Roman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, and the moment he killed Destiny, I was like, you're dead to me.
Yeah, because like, and I kind of get it. He's like, well, she wasn't really, gonna live much of a life anyway. But I mean, he could have
know that
something. Yeah,
he could have Bryce, like the fucking miracle worker scientist.
Yeah, I mean, and Peter didn't have to know, what had happened. Had he not killed Destiny, he could have just said, look, she came over and things got a little out of hand, and he pushed her hard, and he didn't realize she was going to fall into the table. That's all he had to say. Because in that moment, I don't think he thought she was going to go right through the table.
Yeah.
I really don't. I think
he was surprised that she even fell.
Yeah. Like, I don't think he saw that coming, and I think he panicked, and that's why he snapped her neck.
Yeah.
Because he thought, oh, fuck, Peter's going to kill me, which, shocker, Peter did.
You are correct.
Yeah. But all in all, what's your opinion? Overall.
I'd give it 6 or 7 out of 10. Because, like I said, I like that they brought some new elements into it and some twists and turns you don't see coming, but then they still also had the like really predictable shit and the like cookie cutter plot stuff that so many other shows have done a million times. And a lot of the characters, I was just like, oh, thank God they died. So,
yeah.
So I think the writing could have been a little better, but overall, not bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, something I would definitely, if I had the time, I'm like 5 episodes back into season 1, but I would definitely watch it again.
Yeah.
And that's only because I feel like what they do is they give such a strong character development that you become attached to these characters. Not only that, I think it's cool how it takes place in Pennsylvania. A fictional town in Pennsylvania, but it's in Pennsylvania.
Right, you never see that happen.
Right, so...
Because, spoiler alert, guys, there's nothing going on in Pennsylvania.
Right.
Oh, what about Philly? Philly sucks. Nothing happens in Philly either.
No, except cheesesteaks and crime.
Cheesesteaks and crime.
That'd be a good podcast name for a true crime podcast, Cheesesteaks and Crime. Anyway, but, so that in itself is cool, because it's taken place, it's out by Pittsburgh, but it's taken place in Pennsylvania, and that is unheard of.
Right, yeah.
Especially for horror. You know,
I can't
horror's
think of any show that takes place in Pennsylvania.
No, especially not horror, because it's always California, the Midwest, or the South. Like, we're just kind of,
or like Massachusetts.
Yeah. We're like the ugly stepsister in Pennsylvania. Like, yes. Seriously. Because, you know, like you said, it's Massachusetts, the Midwest, the South, or California.
Yeah. Although I do gotta say, a problem with this show being based in Pennsylvania, the part that is not believable is when they're driving, they're not hitting nearly as many potholes as they would if they were actually in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but this was 2013 and 2015. The roads started getting bad right after that. So
oh no, they've always been bad.
True.
They've been bad since like our dads were kids.
True. Yeah. They're not even potholes anymore. Now they're craters.
That's true. Yes.
But, you know, I mean, yeah, that is the only non-believable thing. and when like when we first see Roman in downtown, that's not really believable because I've been to Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh doesn't look like that. Mm. So that's the only thing that's not believable. But like, you know, when he just like walks in that house and he's telling those guys, he's just like, take the 78 up to the Canadian border. I was like, where the hell is the 78? And I was like, that's Pittsburgh, because I didn't even realize it at first.
Oh, okay.
Like, I didn't even realize it was supposed to be Pennsylvania. I was just like, but here's my question, and here's something that can't be answered. And I know that you'll see it, like, when it starts back over with episode 1. We see Roman being the one running through the woods. Why is he running through the woods?
I don't remember that.
It's in the very, very first episode, and if you bring up Netflix, and like, you know how Netflix plays like 30 seconds of the show for some reason?
Yeah.
Netflix, here you go, it's playing already. You'll see Roman is the one, and even if you watch the trailer for season 1, he's the one running through the woods, and I can't figure out why.
Maybe that's after he raped Letha?
Maybe.
And he like ran away?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, because I could never quite grasp that, because I always thought, oh, well, that's, you know, strange. Why is he running, you know?
Yeah. And see, it's going to bother me forever. How did Olivia make him do that?
I think that in a way he hated Olivia, but he knew that she was kind of, you know, the only parent he had left. So I think that because, you know, and if he had those powers to control people with his mind, who's to say she didn't? Yeah, so maybe it was one of those things.
You'd think she had so many opportunities.
Well, she wanted to continue her bloodline, and Roman didn't. So maybe the only way to do that was to mind control him, because Roman, as we see, is really struggling with the fact that he's even like her to begin with. So she wanted to continue her bloodline. He didn't. He wanted her bloodline to die with her.
Right.
Hence why he tries to kill her at the end of season 1, and then himself, because he thinks that will eliminate the bloodline, and then that's when he finds out about Nadia.
Right.
So I think that maybe she had the same power he did and controlled him with her mind and made him think, okay, well, you know, this is something I need to do, and then made him forget it. Or he looked in the mirror after he realized what the fuck he just did and made himself forget about it.
Yeah.
You know?
And also, so who actually killed RJ? Because to me, it seemed like he went there to shoot Olivia.
Right.
And then little Roman gets up, and to me, it seemed like, oh, so Roman used his mind control powers to make his dad kill himself. Or was that Olivia?
That was Olivia, because Roman comes down after JR is already dead. So that's the other thing that makes me think she has that mind control thing, because when JR goes, "What are you?" and then she says, "Don't you know, dear?" And then Roman hears the gunshot, and that's what wakes him up. But Olivia's still sitting in the chair. So that's what makes me think maybe she had the power to mind control too, and she just didn't use it.
Right.
Also, what is that liquid she buys off of Linda that she puts in her eye?
They never explained that either. I think it's something to control the hunger.
You think?
I do, because at no point do we see. It's only when she goes to Linda, and Linda's making meatballs, and she starts eating it like crazy because she wants the meat and the blood.
Yeah.
And I mean, otherwise, we never see Olivia feed. So I think it satiates the hunger.
Yeah.
But then why doesn't fucking Peter be like, hey, Mom, where is that shit? How do I make it? Because Roman needs it.
Yeah. Roman really needs, and you knew Roman needed it when he was eating the leeches off that guy.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. That's so gross.
Oh my god, yeah. And I'm just like, Roman, buddy, that's not good.
Well, then he paid the guy to do more.
Yeah.
And then he never went back to him. So I'm just thinking that guy is just there like, man, I got all these leeches on me. When is this motherfucker coming back?
Yo. See, it would have been funny if that guy would have called me and been like, hey, Roman, got some more leeches. And Roman would be like, fuck you, and then hung up. That would have been fun. See, that would have been the kind of Roman I would have loved to see. Just like, no, fuck you. I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, all in all, I have to applaud both the leading men, because Landon Librian, I found out he was in Degrassi, like The Next Generation, and then oh my god, I don't remember, was it Dawson Damien
out of that show?
Dawson Damien, I have to look right now. Hold on.
Okay.
And then his big break really was Hemlock Grove, and
oh, shit, you froze. Right when you're going to give me the answer. Oh, are you back? Maybe?
Yep. So, I'm trying to see who he was in Degrassi, but Wikipedia is not cooperating with me. Okay. So, yeah. So, his big break Grove, but he was, oh my god, like him and Bill Skarsgård, you could see that, like, even off screen they had like a real like chemistry, like a brotherly thing going on there.
Well, I don't even know if I'd say brotherly. Like, they were really good friends, but there was that like mild sexual tension there, which I liked that was there, because you don't see that in a lot of popular mainstream shows. And like you'll constantly have the two chick friends who it's like, oh, we're actually in love with each other, and it's super cute and everyone loves it. But you almost never see that with men.
Yeah, and in this one you do, and you could kind of see it, just because, like I said, based on the way Roman reacts to Peter leaving at the end of season 1, that kind of solidifies that. Right. Okay, here we go. He's a Canadian actor. Ooh, Jamie, he's your age.
Taken.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, Sean. He is best known for playing Declan Coyne in Degrassi: The Next Generation, and his lead role is Peter Romanchik in Netflix's original series Hemlock Grove.
I'll have to look that up because I don't remember.
Let's see what year that was. 2009 to 2010.
I was watching during that time.
Yeah, he was Declan Coyne. But yeah, I find that really interesting how, that was really his breakout role. And then he was in Truth or Dare, the theatrical version. Mm-hmm. And then him and Bill just released a short film with like Bill's father and his brother, and they directed it. And I thought that was really fucking cool. Like,
really? Oh, that's so cool that they stayed in contact after the show and then they're doing shit together.
Yeah, like that is awesome. Now let's see. Okay. Oh, Bill is going to be in John Wick Chapter 4 next year, so
John Wick, yes.
Yeah, he's going to be in John Wick Chapter 4. Oh yeah, he was in Divergent, Atomic Blonde, It, Battle Creek, Assassination Nation, Deadpool 2, The Devil All the Time. That's another Netflix original. I didn't watch that yet. Oh,
I didn't watch that either.
Castle Rock, Eternals, Boy Kills World. Oh, well, that sounds interesting. Yeah. Well, that looks interesting. Yeah. Wow. You know what's surprising is that Hemlock Grove wasn't nominated for any awards that I'm seeing. I
I
find that.
wonder because they didn't really break any. Well,
Oh, no. Here it is. On July 18th, 2013, Netflix earned the first Primetime Emmy Award nominations for an original online-only streaming television at the 65th Primetime Emmy Awards. 3 of its original series, Arrested Development, Hemlock Grove, and House of Cards, earned nominations.
okay. Yeah, because I mean, it's like they didn't break super new ground with the whole vampire werewolf thing, but then they actually kind of did because they had the whole medical science part of it.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen anything that really takes that into account, which is kind of cool because it brings a whole new sci-fi element to this classic horror.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that for me is what draws it in because it's like a horror sci-fi type thing.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, it's really interesting, just like looking into some of this stuff. But I mean, I don't know. Me personally, like I said, I would definitely watch it again. I mean, I don't think it's like a solid 10 out of 10, but I would watch it again.
Yeah.
Just because, like I said, that character development. Oh, this is interesting. The lady who plays Olivia was in The Faculty.
Yes, and she was also in House on Haunted Hill.
Yep. And X-Men too.
No, I don't watch any like superhero shit.
I do want to see the new Batman though, because I like Rob Pattinson. But yeah, I mean, like I said, me personally, I think that for anybody watching or listening, I think that if you can kind of separate all that bad shit, if you can kind of take it for what it is and just know that there's that trigger warning there and know to skip over those parts, I think that all in all, it's a pretty good show. And I think that if you're into horror, I think that it's definitely outside of the box. And like I said, it's not for everyone. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. That's for fucking sure.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be a little not all in there to, sit through that sometimes, but that's okay because, this is a horror podcast, but I really do think more people need to know about it because for me, it's just a shame that I found out about it 6 years after it ended because it was, on Netflix since 2013. And even though it won the Primetime Emmy, I've had Netflix for that long and I don't remember hearing about it.
Right. Like it was kind of on my radar, but I just never watched it. It was one of those things where I saw it on Netflix a million times. It's like, oh yeah, well, eventually when I'm done watching this, and then I wouldn't.
Right. Yeah, that's how I was. I would always see it, like when Bird Box came out. Like I was like, oh, but I want to watch Bird Box first, and I'd be like, I don't really care about werewolves. That was kind of overplayed with Twilight. But then this past Halloween season, I finally gave it a shot, and I was like, damn, I just missed out on this for so long because it really is a hidden gem, and I don't think Eli Roth gets enough appreciation as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm very curious.
Hostel.
Oh, he did Hostel.
Yeah, nobody talks about Hostel either.
Okay. But I'm wondering how close to truth how they depicted gypsy culture is. Because that's always fascinated me. And I mean, we're using the term gypsy here because that's what they use in the show.
Right.
But I've also heard that is a derogatory term and it's preferred to use the term Romani. Right. I don't know if that's true or not. One of those people has never told me, or I've never heard one of those people of that descent, state one way or the other.
Yeah, no, me neither.
But I've always been very interested in that culture, and it's kind of like a very protected, like within the family kind of culture of like, if you know, you know.
Right.
And if you don't, then you don't.
Yeah. And I think that's the way it's going to stay.
Yeah. But I wonder how close they got.
I wonder too. Now it is based off of a book, which by the way, you're going to enjoy this. There's 2 books. There's Hemlock Grove, and then there's one that's a spinoff that's based on Destiny. from her perspective.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I wonder if the author, because the author is from Pennsylvania, that's why it's based in Pennsylvania, Brian McGreevy. I wonder, is he Romani? Did he know somebody who's a Romani? You know,
or did he just
like
kind
you
of
said, like how close are they getting? I mean, close enough that they nailed the Upir thing, because an Upir literally translates, it's like a demonic vampire. Like, they're not alive, but they look like they are, and they look like they're normal human beings, but they're not. So they really nailed the Upir thing. I mean, until I watched that show, I didn't even know what the hell an Upir was.
Right. Yeah.
But when I looked it up, they nailed that. So I wonder how close they got with, like you said, the Romani culture.
Right. Yeah. And because it's hard, because so much of that culture is Hollywoodized.
Right.
You know, and so like that's kind of all people really know about it, which is a shame, because every culture is beautiful in its own way.
Right. The last time I saw Romani culture was Thinner.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's a negative depiction, and I don't know. I mean, I would like to know. So if anybody out there is of Romani descent and can fill us in, we would love to know. Like, it's just a curiosity thing.
Or even just point us in the direction of, like, legit books. Because, you know, there's... Anyone can write a fucking book these days. So, if you know a legit one, pass it our way.
Right. And that's all we have for you for tonight. So, if you are so inclined, and again, if you can understand and handle those trigger warnings of those very controversial topics, such as...
Oh, you just started buffering. Retro. Oh no, it's just me. Okay, so as Alonna was saying, there are some trigger warnings with the show. I mean, there's rape, there's incest, violence, obviously. It is a pretty good show. Give it a watch. On our next episode of Ghoulfriends, 2 weeks from now, we will be talking about the show Yellow Jackets, which I'm super excited about. It's excellent, excellent, excellent show, especially if you are a lover of all things 1990s. Check it out. It's spooky. It's like people are the real monsters, but then there's also something supernatural going on. It's just... it's wonderful. A++. So I'm very excited to talk about that. Alonna is finishing up the first season, and hopefully we'll have the second season of that soon, because I can't wait anymore. So yeah, that is it. And if there's anything that you guys would like us to talk about, whether it be a TV show, a book, movie, tales, folklore, urban legends, whatever, let us know, and we will dedicate an episode. But that is all for now. Thank you for tuning into Ghoulfriends. I will see you guys next time.
And this has been the Ghoulfriends podcast.